So we'll cut to this now, and you can see Saint going first plays Liege, leaving QU. What an
I mean,
interesting play. That could be correct,
I
right?
didn't see it coming, but yeah, there's only one play with the Q, and that's QI. There's
And
no
it's
QU
probably not
words.
worth playing that. Yeah.
I mean, you should probably play it with the Q on the star. Maybe he gets maybe he gets a word to the triple. Maybe there isn't anyone. But Liege keeping QU. You have to do some calculations in your head here, I think. And what I would think about is Liege versus QI versus an exchange, because you might also just want to exchange maybe GE and hope for a big Q play next turn. But the idea of Liege is, well, the QU is going to hit decently well to that E, the first E in Liege. Um, as we can see now, at least Toke for 34 will play there, but oftentimes you get a play that goes down to the second triple letter score. So the Q you leave is pretty okay after Liege, but you have to know the Q and the U, they might seem really powerful, but in general, the leave is really just an average leave. It's kind of like leaving an E on your rack. So you don't want to sacrifice too many points to keep. Not sure if Liege is worth it over QI, but it's a very interesting decision.
It's really, yeah, that's a real stunner. I mean, I think there's a strong possibility that it's a solid play or potentially the best play. It's just well off the beaten path in terms of having QU on your rack, but not having any real valid, good play with it other than Chi, which you said the EEGLU leave is too gross to play that. So it's just, again, we were talking about it before. Scrabble is a game where you learn all the rules, all these ideas that you try to apply on each and every turn that you play, and you mix up each one and weigh them against each other. And ultimately, you find yourself breaking your own rules constantly. Constantly are you doing that. Oh, and we should see a bingo here. There's at least a few. Um, we'll see what Saint can find. I see several bingos that are playable here. Um,
Several? Like
yes.
what? Like
I
out?
see Nutwoods and Woodtone to start off.
Oh, Woodwards, of course.
Yep.
Woodwards, yeah, Woodtone, and yeah, I was like, no, out drown. That's not a word.
No, yeah. I guess that's it, though. I'm examining now, and I'm not seeing. Okay, so it would be either Woodtone to the E of Liege or Nutwoods to the U of Ryu. So,
Those are really tough. But as we saw many times, Saint just quickly finding an incredible word of extrusion, and he finds wood note, and that we're not surprised at all
but
by
we're
that
gonna
find.
see Jeffrey. I think of Jeffrey as a guy that knows his bingos, that likes to bingo. I think of him as somebody that often will fish and go for that bingo. Again, fish being a play where you use relatively low amounts of your tiles, one or two, keeping really good sets of 5 or 6 tiles behind in hopes of bingoing. And I think of Jeffrey as somebody that likes to play that way. And sure enough, he spots his double double through the end of insold. He actually had
Yeah.
unsoiled there as
Yeah,
well.
unsold, insold, and we have right behind you in chat. I mean, once again, shout out to Josh Castellano. That's right behind you in chat. He created this website, randomracer.com, that takes all of the statistics of annotated games, games that were put in to the interwebs, into crosstables.com by players that look over their games. And he says that out of all of the players, and all of the games, Jeffrey Nelson has the most seven-letter words on average played per game, which is an incredible feat.
So I will tell you, deep cut on that is part of that is from the old days of live journal when people would blog about Scrabble. A very large number of Scrabble players would post about their tournament experiences and other Scrabble memories that they had. Jeffrey was in the habit of posting games to Cross Tables where he bingoed 5 times or more. So
Mhm.
I will say that there may be a self-selecting situation there where the games that are on cross tables are ones that he has placed there specifically because he bingos a lot. He loves those games. Jeffrey does. He loves those shootout games where you're bingoing a ton, both sides, back and forth. So that may be juking the stats a little bit, but there's no question that he is a fan of going for that bingo whenever he can. So we'll see. Saint is the one who's looking for a bingo right now. He's got the blank on his rack, the second blank. He just played the first one. And an interesting choice. So he had a bingo available on that turn of shielded through the D of wood note. That was the only bingo.
Oh, I was like, that doesn't fit through the D of
Yeah,
insult.
so he may have missed that play of shielded, but honestly, Hewed is not too big of a mistake even seeing that. It's definitely worse. Shielded in that spot scores
That's an
87,
amazing spot there for shielded.
but Hewed is still valuable just because you're scoring 48 points with that play, leaving the blank left over. It's not a huge mistake. Not every time you miss a bingo is a disaster. Um, so, all right, let's see. This is interesting. So, Saint did not draw well enough to hit a bingo on his next turn, but
Oh,
Jeffrey gets
Serrano.
there first.
What a hilarious. Okay, if nobody knows who Jeffrey is or somebody, Jeffrey is actually he has a farm in Vermont where he grows so many hot peppers among other things, and it's so funny that he gets to play Serrano here,
That's a
which
treat
is
for
the
him
type of
then.
the type of pepper. And I'm gonna have to take another swig of this hot sauce after that one.
In honor of the Serrano, of
But
course.
cheers to you, Jeffrey, and all of your amazing peppers.
And this is crazy now. So basically, Saint had that one bingo on his turn of Hewed, shielded through the D of Wood Note. Really difficult find with a blank. Then he drew into the play where he made clipped. He had 6 consonants and only 1 vowel. There were no bingos available. And now he has a very flexible rack, DEFINO blank, and there are no playable bingos here. Amazingly, I would have for sure imagined with nice balanced letters like this that you would be able to get a bingo somewhere on this board, but actually, it's not. The board is not quite good enough for him to get a bingo down. Amazingly, I would take a long time on this because it feels like a move where for sure there should be a bingo, but there isn't.
But if you look at the way the board is sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble here with this latest hot sauce swig. Um, if you look at the board, where do you bingo? Like, it seems sort of open at first glance, but there's only 3 letters to play through, and you have to have specific bingos. You have, through the sorry, there's the second O in wood tone or wood note. I was gonna say wood tone might have been slightly better, but, you have to have the O in first or second position to bingo there, and then there's the E and the D in insult where there has to be the fifth letter, and that's it. Like, there's no other letters to play through. You can only play a 7-letter word on top of era or right below the D in chewed, but that's it. I mean, it looks like an open board at first glance, but no, there's really, really very little to be done on this board. So Saint, he's down 28 points. He doesn't have to bingo, but he might be looking to increase his chances for next turn.
Yeah, great analysis. Only, I mean, just to, it's redundant to say, but it's just if you look over the board, one of the big things that makes a board open or closed is the availability of different types of hooks, right? Can you put an S on a word? Can you put a D on a word? And on this board, there are really no places to end a 7-letter word in a D or an S. Like hips doesn't fit enough letters. There's nowhere
You'd have to
else
play
that
hips and
really,
serranos.
yeah, there's
I think we're
no
gonna see
way.
Jape come down here pretty quickly, by the way. But yeah, there's like
Hmm.
you have to have very, very specific bingos to play on this
Hold
board. So I
on.
think
There is rechewed.
rechewed, of course,
So you can hold on to
and
your J.
eschewed as well. But
Yeah, you
yeah,
could play a shoot. Of course, rechewed has that extra power here of using up one of those 2 R's on the rack. But yeah, let's see if he thinks of it. If Jeffrey can just open his play finding vision to extending chewed in that way, rather than I certainly would probably have thought, boy, I need to use my J here. Let's play Jape. But re-chewed scores even better, and you can just draw another E and play Jape the next turn too.
Do
So
you think I have a question for you, Will? Do you think Jeffrey would have seen Mesquite?
I think he would have, yes. I think he has that flair of creativity and just a word that scores that many points. I'm sure
Oh,
looking for.
you're
Yeah,
back
I would
again,
say
Will.
yes. Oh wow, okay, he plays Jarl instead. So
Wow.
that's definitely a play that leaves the best bingo leave. But again, we were just talking about how this board is really bad for getting those bingos down. Maybe he'll get something with Era, like if he gets something with Sarah.
All right.
Oh, beautiful.
Unchewed. Yeah, we got unchewed. Yeah, I think you're maybe you're breaking up a little bit from time to time, Will. But
Okay, sorry, using my push to
yeah,
talk
we
this whole time.
unchewed and rechewed, S-chewed. We finally see it come down from Saint. He wastes no time. He takes 17 seconds to play his word of unchewed. I was thinking Jarl might be a decent play. I mean, it doesn't open and it closes a big spot. The J2 spot was kind of big. It might be comparable to Jape, but I think you really have to see those chewed extensions on this board after Saint plays Hewed and then hooks a C, he is way more likely to be aware of that possibility because he's done everything in that area of the board.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. And also, just want to give Saint props to to correctly, I should say, pass up those bingos. He had bingos available in a lot of spots, but scoring 51, leaving that blank S combination behind, is setting him up really well. So we'll see. This is a really exciting game so far. I'm not sure how it's going to unfold.
Yeah, I mean, we know that Saint still has that blank, so I believe he has a decent advantage here despite only being up 22 points. But anything can still happen. Many plays can happen from the F and Fine, from the R and Serrano. Those are going to open new lines. The board will get new life, and I think we'll just have to see. We'll have to wait and find out. So this is a great game to have chosen, I think. Um, what do you do here, though? Do you play?
I think a real test for Jeffrey is, will he play, if he wants to play something, okay, he plays Jeremy. I was going to say if he wanted to go absolutely for broke as hard as he could to get the next bingo down, he might have tried GEY, gay, in that spot for significantly fewer points, keeping REMS as opposed to just ES. But I much prefer the choice that he made, and I
Yeah.
like to see him make that play, just getting a bunch more points, getting the M off of his rack, and really making sure that he maintains his chances of winning this game without getting another bingo down. There are many situations here. The score is so close. He doesn't have to bingo again. And I was worried that he would feel compelled to do that. But boy, he just drew kind of poorly to his leave of ES with the BV pick out of the bag.
Yep. I mean, he has a really cute play of Bima underneath Jeremy, making MM, which he seems to have missed because that would have been
Oh,
NEBORE
Bima.
MM and ANYA. I mean, that scores a ton of points and sets up his S with Nebs. But Vape was the play I first saw, and it's a good play in its own right. But you have to look for those really weird overlapping plays. It's not every day you get to see a consonant put on the bottom of another consonant to make a word. So that was a hard one to see.
Yeah, that play of right? So Bima down there would have made MMs for So that can be a tricky play to see sometimes, as we see Oxford's very nice play by Saint. He actually had four does, FORDOES, making one more or two
Two
more
more overlaps. Yeah.
overlaps than that. But Oxford certainly gets the job done. A solid bingo that puts Saint in strong command in this game.
It also prevents big bingos coming back. If he had played for does, Any word from like 15a that ends in a vowel such as an e and then a consonant such as an r or an s or a d, those would have played. So this is sacrifice of a significant amount of points, 6 points, I think, but it might be worth it.
Love that idea of playing your bingo there on that 14th row a little further to the left just to reduce that chance of getting hit with a counter bingo. I think it makes total sense. For a sacrifice of only 5 points, you can dramatically decrease the chances of Jeffrey coming back with another bingo. Um, like that choice for sure. Even if I imagine with that rack, I bet Saint saw 4 does and opted against it for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, he is a defensive player. Um, Now here we have an interesting rack. The G, the K, the W don't really go that well together, but I think Saint's going to be able to make some nice adjustments to the board here. I think he's going to try and block a few things. I'm trying to see a good way to do that, but I mean, you'd want to play from the V and Vape. I don't
Yeah, what do we
see.
think is the biggest threat here, right? Can you play from the V of Vape in a way that goes far enough down the board to not give a sevens lane back on column B? That's the trick here.
I don't see it, but otherwise, I mean, he is only up 38 points, so he might opt to play something slightly different. He might opt to play a very defensive move, or on the other hand, he might try to score as much as possible to outrun a possible bingo from Jeffrey. So, be interesting to see what he chooses here because I'm not seeing anything jumping up at me.
Amazingly, holding that K and W, which score 5 and 4 points respectively, you would think with those tiles on most boards, certainly with Oxford's, right? You have that OK spot if only he had an E. But then again, it's going to be hard. How are you going to fit something in there? You need a very precise set of vowels to go down there. So the Oxford's triple, the triple underneath that R of Oxford's, is actually quite difficult to score well. I don't really see a place that he can use his KWG combination for any more than like 20 points here. Um, so
Yeah,
he's
no,
going to
I'm
have to
not
be careful.
not seeing anything either. He might opt to play walk, just dropping the W and the K with that O and in sold, just to block that lane, which seems to be the most likely place to play a bingo, except you have to start in a V or an S. So it really does look quite unlikely that Jeffrey will be able to play a bingo, but I think it's good to start
What an interesting idea.
yeah, start
So,
maybe I don't know, maybe
yeah,
just play a little defense here.
that's interesting because the evaluator on Woogles wants to play walk, but it's not for defensive reasons. It's because the ing leave is often quite valuable. Um, in this particular case, as Josh says, the ERA in the center of the board, it does take an S and a V front hook. That actually might be the most realistic sevens lane on the board. So walk, normally a play you would make to balance your rack, actually might be a play that you make for defensive reasons here.
Yeah, but we see Knit come down scoring more points. I like that. I like that a lot. It doesn't really create any big threats. However, there was the the interesting possibility that a huge play down to the K could be another disaster scenario for Saint, like maybe something like Zebek, Zebeck, could have
Yeah,
come down for a bingo score. So I would have
exactly.
been worried about that C particularly in the bag, even though I'm taking a 60-point lead with the play of Knit. But I think it's a good choice. And now we see Jeffrey with a very interesting rack where he probably wants to play his Z and his E off, but where do you put it? Do you play Yes for 30? You block the Y, which might come in handy, and you open this huge spot for Saint. You might have to do some calculations here. If Saint plays through the Z with something like Bozo, is that going to score enough to win the game? It's possible. I can do those
Wow.
calculations while you're thinking about it, Will.
Yeah, no, I definitely defer to you on that. There's some interesting ideas in the chat. Also, seeing that Seth says for later, there's an incredible position in the Dave battle between Koenig. Whoops. Also, at some point, want to try to check in on the brothers. Actually, I'll do that now and see how Brosowski brothers battle is going. Hold on. No, it's yeah, we'll
Yeah,
stick with this game, but
yeah.
I will I'll just look and
So yeah, I'm
see.
looking at Yez here. So it's 30 points, brings him to 376. That's 29 points below Saint. Saint scores up to 54 points with Bozo. Um, so yeah, I'm not really sure. That's an 83-point margin that that Jeffrey will have to make up with a bingo. And where do you play a bingo again? Like it's just an air ball. The 7 column playing something with Sarah is only going to score 65 points. And I mean, if he catches Saint with the V and with the W, that might be enough to win. So it seems really close and kind of counterintuitive to play something like Yes, but it might be the right play here. I don't know. What is chat thinking? Tease and Ort. Um, Tease and Ort. So setting up, of course, Squish in chat. Jackson Smiley, an
Loving this
amazing,
setups.
amazing player that sees Tease underneath Jeremy to set up ZA from time to time, but it doesn't seem to work that well.
I can just say, reporting from the Gideon versus Emmett game,
Oh,
it's
for
it,
Zinnia. Oh my god. Sorry, report the Emmett game.
I'm just looking at this matchup. I don't know if they're in the chat or not. I don't want to say, I'm not sure what to say. All I can say is I think the Gideon versus Emmett matchup is going to be a 1 point game. I think it's going to end with a 1 point win for one of the brothers.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we see Zep come down. Okay, the idea of tease was given in chat, and I didn't even see why. But if you play, we'll have to go back to that. That would have been incredible. And we see here Boniest on the rack, but I don't think. Oh my God, Steinbach!
Oh my
Oh my God!
God. This is bonkers. Is this going to be
Steinbach!
played? So basically Jeffrey has 4 minutes. I know he knows this word. The only question is he going to open his mind to the idea of playing to that K? And if he does, he is about to win a game in absolutely ridiculous fashion with an antelope word to the K. Will he spot it? Oh my God. We're just having to sit here in agony as we discover whether or not he's going to see this. Again, I know he knows this word. The thing that's working in Jeffrey's favor here is all the other plays that he can make. He has no bingos anywhere else, and he has no winning play anywhere. He has no way to win this game except by coming up with a bingo, and that is why I think if he opens his mind to the possibility of playing to this K, he'll see it and win this game.
I
Yeah.
have no words. That is
It's
unbelievable.
not down yet, though. It's not come down yet.
I I mean, when he sees it, he plays it, but he has 2.5 minutes to see it, and he knows that's the only way for him to win at this point. He's down 72 points. He has to bingo. I mean, you're looking through that A and you're like, oh man, botanized. There you
Oh,
go!
there it
Oh
goes.
my
Oh
god!
my God. Steinbach for the win. Oh.
Holy shit. That is just ridiculous. The chances of a bingo to a K are
Now that is a bad beat for Saint. Oh my God. And there's Billy Nakamura in the chat, and that is a stroke of luck that he could not have anticipated.